In this video, we're going to use JavaScript to do a little bit of math. So we're going to do the compute area section. So in here, to compute the area, we're going to need to get the width and the height from the user. So to do that, I'm going to use inputs of type equals text. I'm going to give them an ID so I can access them both from the label and to connect them to the label and access them with JavaScript. So I'm going to just call this the first one height, and I'm going to have a second one, but this one I'm going to give it an ID of width. All right, so I've got two text box inputs, and now I want to do a label. So I'm going to give this one a label. I'm going to say enter height. And I'm going to connect it to the first one. So I'm going to say 4, and I'm going to connect it to the one that has ID set to height. And I'm going to have another one. And this one I'm going to say enter width, and I'm going to connect it to the width element. All right, let's see what we've got here. Now if I refresh, those inputs show up. Notice how they're all in line, so they just come one right after another. So if I want them maybe on top of each other, I can put them in paragraphs. So I can say the first one I want to be in a paragraph, and then the next one I'm going to go ahead and put in a paragraph as well. And paragraphs are block elements. So now I've got them, now they're on top of each other. So now that I've got those two values, let's go ahead and create a function that we can use those with. So we'll do this same thing. We'll use the keyword function, and we'll create a function, and I'm just going to simply call it compute area. So I put the name followed by parentheses and then curly braces to contain everything. And what do I need to do? I'm going to need a couple of variables, and I'm going to need one that's called height. And I can go ahead and define them side by side. If I want to define two, I can do it with a comma. And then I can say height is equal to, and here I'm going to go get the element. Get element by ID, and this one I want to get the one that has ID set to height. And what am I going to get? That's an input element, and I want to get the value that's in it and store it in height. Then I want to go get the other value and store it in width. Now how is this going to be different? This is going to be getting a different ID. Instead of getting the one that has ID set to height, I'm going to get the ID set to width. But on this one I'm also going to get value. So now I've gotten both those values and stored them in variables. Well, I can add another variable, and this one is, I'm going to call it area, and now I'm going to do math. I can say area is equal to, and I just simply do height times width. And there you see what the multiplication operator in JavaScript looks like. It's that asterisk sign. So now I do height times width, does that math, and it stores the result in area. Now I want to print out the result. Where can I print it to? I want to go ahead and keep my compute area as the heading for this section, and I don't want to write to it. So I'm going to add another element that I can write to, and this can be a paragraph or a heading or whatever I want it to be, but I'm going to simply add it. I'll add a paragraph, and if I give it an ID, and this is going to be the area message, is what I'm going to call it. Then I have access to it in here. Then I can say, now notice order again is important. I don't know what area is still here, so I don't want to write until I know it. So now I'm going to go document.getElement by ID, and now I'm going to go ahead and get area message. And what do I want to do? I want to change what's between the opening and closing tag. There's nothing there now, but what I want it to say is the area is, and here I can add a plus area. So now let's see what we've got. Oh, we're not quite ready yet. Let's go ahead and refresh. Nothing's happening here. How do we access this function? We have to add a button to access it. Oh, notice I put that paragraph inside the other paragraph, and I don't want that. I want it after. So I'm just going to make that adjustment there so that I close that paragraph before I open my message paragraph. And now I'm going to add a button. And on here, I'm going to put compute area. And if I go over here, I can see that happening. There's the button. I click on it, nothing happens. This is because we need to add the onClick attribute and call that function. What's the name of the function? It's compute area. So I do compute area, and then remember to put the parentheses. Now I save it and refresh. And here I can click on the label and put in the height, 52, put in the width, 73, and I compute the area, and it comes up and says the area is 3796. And there, I've done all the same things we've already done. Created a function, defined variables, got values from input box. This is the new thing. I've done some math with JavaScript, and then I've written the results out to a paragraph.